bitches.
Hi, hello, welcome back.
It is a folklore kind folklore. It is a
Folklore kind of day.
folklore kind of day. We're in the Norse pantheon right now. This is our second episode
Yes,
of Norse mythology.
because we did like the creation story, beginning of the
Yeah.
universe kind of thing last time. This time we're actually going through the realms
Yes. And we're
because
starting.
there's 9 of them.
There are two inner realms or enclosed realms and two kind of freer realms. Or not two, seven freer realms. Jesus Christ.
I haven't even.
I
I
was just
haven't
talking
even.
yesterday again about how I say Jesus Christ a whole lot for somebody who doesn't believe in him.
Yeah,
Because I really do. I say it often. But anyway, there are 9 realms. Two of them are guarded or fenced in realms, which are Asgard and Nilfgaard. Nilfgaard?
Midgard.
Midgard. Where did I get Nilfgaard? Is Nilfheim one?
Yeah, no
Okay.
puns. A realm.
Asgard
Yeah.
and Midgard, and then the all the ones that end with Heim are the other 7, and those are not enclosed um, realms. So like Vanaheim, which is what I'm going to talk about today, Jotunheim, which is what Emily's going to talk about today, Nilfheim, and
Would you like me to say
the
it?
rest of them. I can't think of what they are.
We have Alfheim, Niflheim, Vanaheim, Muspelheim, Jotunheim, Svart. I can never say this one. Even with someone saying it to me slowly but surely, I still can't say it. Svartalfheim. Svartalfheim. Then you got Asgard, Midgard, and Hell.
Yeah.
I kicked
Breaking
my little
things.
under. I know. I kicked my little cart under here. I got one of those carts that Brandy has that I get so jealous of, and I kicked it, and I knocked over my pens and pencils. My
Way to
bad.
go.
Anyways, would you like me to go first, or would you like to go first?
Sure.
Okay. So, Jotunheim. So, Jotunheim is one of the 9 realms in Norse mythology, or cosmology, I guess. It's the technical term of it. Jotunheim is the land of the Jotun. They're non human, non divine creatures like giants and trolls. So, I think Jotunheim, uh, it's it doesn't have like a specific name. It's just it means home of the Jotun, but like the people that live there are, I literally think, just bigger beings, like I mean the giants basically. um
Which one is the
and
one where like the ice giants? Is that Jotunheim?
mhm,
Like
yeah,
from, I mean, assuming that those that the Loki and Thor movies are correct and there are ice giants.
similar. uh yes, ice giants are part of it.
Okay.
There are obviously some like wrong things or different things in it, but yeah, ice giants are basically it. So they have a chaotic nature. Um, it's it's always at odds with Asgard. Um, so their realm is always in a fight with Asgard's realm. The civilized gods, as they say, despise them for their wild ways, and the races fought endlessly. Um, Whenever they were mentioned, conflict was following, no matter what. The capital of Jotunheim is called Utgard or Utgard. It has a massive castle with a name meaning beyond the fence. The realm's other notable locations also include Mimir's Well. Mimir, uh, think, you know what? I'm not going to get too much into him because he's important. He's part of Norse mythology, so I'm not gonna not
We'll
obviously
probably
Norse
cover him
mythology.
later.
Yeah, but like he's not one of the smaller people. Like he's mentioned a lot.
Yeah.
Um, uh, Tremheim and the Vimmer River. So it's derived from Old Norse, which literally translates to home of the Jotun. And it has a lot of mythology wrapped around it. So it's a place where several myths are like come from. So one of them is called the Idun and the magic apples. So this is an important setting for this myth. Uh, Idun and her magic apples appeared in a prose book that I cannot pronounce, and I'm not going to pronounce. I just hit my desk. So while exploring Jotunheim, Loki angered the Jotun Sthazi. Is she watching football?
Yes.
Oh my god.
On the TV, on the television.
Who is she watching?
I don't know, but this is a common Sunday experience at our house.
I'm so glad to be
To be
part of
included.
it.
You're welcome.
Oh man. Anyways, Loki angered Jotun and soon found himself in the shapeshifter's talons. Um, I feel like a lot of the giants are shapeshifters. I don't know
A
how
lot of the
canon that
ones in
is.
Vanaheim are as well.
I mean, who isn't? I guess Midgard, the humans. In exchange for his release, Loki promised to bring him the goddess Idun and her youth-granting apples. Upon returning to Asgard, Loki lured her to the forest, where the shapeshifter, in the form of an eagle, whisked her away to Jotunheim. So the Asgardian guards actually depended on her apples to maintain their youth. When they learned of Loki's treachery, they were pissed. They threatened him with death unless he brought her back. After borrowing Freya's cloak, Loki flew off to the Jotunheim or Jotun's palace in Jotunheim, where Idun was sitting all alone. Acting quickly, Loki transformed the goddess into a nut and delivered her and her apples to Asgard and the shelter of the gods. Um, so that was an important possible end to the gods if she was not returned. There's another one. I don't know if Loki's. Oh yeah, Loki's involved. Of course, Loki's involved. He's involved with everything. The little trickster,
Right, when is Loki not involved?
right? So Thor, the lovely bride, and Loki essentially. Um, this this involves the theft of Thor's hammer, Mjolnir. The story began when Thor awoke to find his beloved hammer missing. In a panic, he assembled the gods and asked for their help in finding it. Loki immediately borrowed. You know, when I see borrowed, I wonder if he actually stole it. I fully believe he's stealing this shit. I don't think he borrowed it. Um, but he yet again borrowed Freya's falcon feather cloak and raced off to Jotunheim, where he spied Mjolnir in the hands of the giant Therm. In exchange for the hammer's safe return, Therm demanded Freya's hand in marriage. You know what? This is actually really, really funny. This right here. In the game Assassin's Creed, Ragnarok. Is it Ragnarok? Either Ragnarok or not Assassin's Creed, God of War. In the not the remastered, but the almost newest God of War, we see fuck, what's his name? We see the God of War from a previous pantheon come to the Norse mythology side of things. And he actually is in Jotunheim, and you play out this thing. You play this out, except for you're the blushing bride, I think. Either that or Loki is one of the two. Either way, you play out this myth, and it's actually pretty funny. It's a shit fight, like it's horrible, but like it's cool to see the myth involved. But anyways, so he demands Freya's hand in marriage. So the gods in Asgard are absolutely not. They do not want this. They tried to figure out different ways to retrieve the hammer without following through with the demands. Then Heimdall actually hatched this scheme. How about we dressed Freya and her handmaiden, Thor and Loki, would sneak into um, Jotunheim. So we have Loki and Thor dressed as Freya and her handmaiden. Um, and they would sneak into Jotunheim and take back the hammer. So after a lot of convincing, Thor reluctantly donned the bridal veil, and the gods made haste to Jotunheim. So, so we have Thor, the blushing bride, and Loki, the handmaiden, preparing for marriage, pretending to be Freya so they can get back their hammer. Um, After riding for several days, the two actually entered Therm's Hall, or Thermheim. Thrumheim, I don't know. Uh, and Therm actually noticed Freya's worn appearance, and Loki was like, "Please pardon the appearance. We've just hard rode horses to get here for several days. Like, apologies." Um, the wedding commenced. It Therm had brought forth Mjolnir to consecrate the marriage, and then as soon as it was close enough, Thor seized it and killed the entire wedding party, leaving Grand Thermheim drenched in blood. So
All
he
right.
left. He's like, "Thanks, goodbye," and left. There is another one where basically Thor had to return to Jotunheim. Um, what is it? Loki was captured this time, and the giant absolutely hated Thor and wanted Loki to bring Thor in without his stuff to like probably so that he could just like kill him, all of that good thing. Um, and then just try to hurt him. And then when all was said and done, um, what is it? Loki and Thor stopped at the home of a giantess Grid who warned Thor of the plot against him. Seeing that he lacked his usual armaments, she loaned him a pair of iron gloves, a belt, and a magical staff, and these weapons were used to turn the tables on Geirrod, murdering him and his daughters before fleeing Jotunheim in triumph once again. So, um, Jotunheim is also this is the last one. Jotunheim is also known for in the beginning and the end. The realm of Jotunheim was home to Mimir's Well, which is a spring located near the roots of the Yggdrasil, which is the tree of life, essentially. The well's waters granted wisdom to anyone who drank from them, and it was for the reason that Mimir's Well played a key role in Norse lore. According to a poet epic thing, Odin traveled to Jotunheim in search of wisdom, and upon arriving at the well, he pulled out one of his eyes and cast it onto the shaft, where Mimir drank its mead every day. um, it also predicted that the they it's they're calling it like Voluspa something, predicted that during Ragnarok, which is a series of events leading to the end of everything, Jotunheim would tremble with expectation and release its monsters onto the world. So
So the
Ragnarok
apocalypse.
basically, yeah. So Ragnarok
But
basically,
before the apocalypse was a thing.
yeah. Um, they basically like, all right, Asgard's falling, let's go, that kind of thing. All the creatures of Jotunheim, including the fire giant Surt, would come swarming out of the realm to do battle with the gods on the plains of Asgard. Jotunheim and the other realms would ultimately turn to ash and be annihilated with all of creation at this point.
That's
Which
unfortunate.
essentially, yeah, so it ends.
It's kind of funny because in your stories, it sounds like Asgard are the good guys and Jotunheim are the bad guys. In
Yeah.
all of the
It's kind of
mythology,
like Christianity, heaven and
yeah.
hell.
But in all of the stories, which most of them are about the Vanir, the gods and goddesses that live in Vanaheim, but they portray Asgard as the bad guys,
Hmm.
um, or the more evil doers. So, was that you said that was your last thing?
Yeah, and it's really funny too because like the nine worlds on like so you have the tree and you have the nine worlds spread very out. Jotunheim is like the bottom. It's like the bottom section, and then you have Asgard on top, above all else. So it's
Yeah,
like heaven above all else, and then like hell is down at the bottom. And it's just weird because it's like that's how Christianity believes. Like you go to heaven or you go to hell. Like it's so
yeah,
eerily similar. But I mean, if the history books are correct, a lot of Norse people actually traveled to, well, they got out of the northern countries of Europe and traveled down towards like Ireland and Scotland and England. And so that's probably where things started to merge.
yeah. So, Vanaheim, direct translation, is home of the Vanir, which the Vanir is a tribe of deities. Um, they are more nature deities versus the like war and human deities of Asgard. Um, and Vanaheim is there's not a lot about it. The big thing about it is that it is like nature, it's wild country. There are not humans there. Um, in some stories, it is the land of the elves, which will come into play later as we talk about the deities. The only clue to the location of Vanaheim on the Tree of Yggdrasil is that when Njord left Vanaheim to go to Asgard, he was traveling east. So Vanaheim is somewhere to the west of Asgard. That's really all we know about where it's located. Um, and it is best known as the birthplace of Njord, who is the patriarch of the Vanir tribe of deities. Um, so, like I said, that's basically all I know about specifically Vanaheim, but there are some stories that happen there about each of the gods. So, I'm going to go through the Vanir since they're part of Vanaheim. These gods and goddesses are associated with fertility, the great outdoors, and magic. And not just any magic, it is, I think it's Sadir, Seidr, which is
Yeah.
prophecy, the magic of prophecy or seeing the future.
Satyr. Is it Satyr,
Seder.
maybe?
That's what it looks like, but that sounds Greek to me, so I wasn't sure. Um,
SEI?
Seidr. Um,
Yeah, it's Satyr.
but okay, because of that, like the fact that they are the ones that practice Seder and can make prophecies and see the future or affect the future, in is kind of believed that Heimdall is from Vanaheim
Mm-hmm.
because he can do that,
I wonder if he is, though. I mean, when we talk about him,
or maybe
we'll probably find
descended
out.
from them,
Yeah.
descended from the Vanir.
Well,
I don't know.
he was he essentially works for them. I mean, in
Yeah.
other words, I mean, he's a guardian, so like maybe he guards it for a reason. You
Yeah.
also, I mean, isn't Freya a Vanir?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean,
We're going to talk about that here in a second as well, because in some stories, Freya and Frigg are the same person.
mhm.
They're not in though. Like they are two different entities. So we're going to start with Njord because he is the patriarch of the family. He's the god of the sea, seafaring, fair weather, fishing, wealth, and coastal crop fertility. Um, he's Poseidon. um, but Njord married his sister, which I thought I wrote down her name, but I don't see it now. Um, no, anyway, he married his sister, which even in the Greeks, they were fine with that. The Norse were not. So like that was a big taboo thing. Like that was not thought of as a good thing.
The
But
difference between like interfamilial, familial, whatever, familial
yeah,
relationships with all cultures and the Norse is so different. I love it.
yeah.
They
The
were
Norse were like,
clean compared to a lot
no,
of other
that's
people.
gross.
Hmm.
Yeah, very pure and like
They brushed their hair.
yeah, I just
They bathed.
um
Come on, English people.
right. Oh, they had two children. So Njord and his sister married two children. These children are Freya and Freyr. They're twins. Um, and we're going to talk about both of them as well. After that, um, there wasn't really any information about what happened to his sister, but she's gone now. She's gone. Um, and he married the goddess of winter sport, which is Skadi. She did not want to marry him. Um, she did admire his legs, though. He had nice legs. So she decided to go ahead and marry him. The entire relationship was only around 18 days. Kim Kardashian. Um, because she couldn't stand um, like the screeching of the seabirds and the sounds of the ocean and everything at Noatun, which was Njord's home, and he couldn't stand being in the mountains of, is it Thrymheim? Um, and so they
It's
just
got like a
couldn't
giant
find,
dog too.
yeah, they couldn't find happiness together though. Like that just didn't work out. Um, so they separated, and then Scotty went and found comfort in Odin's arms, um, and went that way. While Njord went on to live the life of a bachelor for the rest of his days. So that's Njord. His children. Freya is the goddess of love, sex, fertility, beauty, not beautis, beauty, satyr, and battle. Um, so all of these things, and then one of these things is not like the other. All these beautiful things, and then battle, which I guess battle can be beautiful in its own way, but that's a whole other tangent I'm not going to go down.
It's an art
Um,
form,
yeah,
as Cassian would say.
right. Freya, by all accounts, is freaking gorgeous. She has looks that could kill. She's um just super beautiful. She has magic. And then she has that cape of falcon feathers, which is like a big, like, I don't know, identifiable factor about her. Um, she married the Vanir god Oder, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit. And they had two daughters, Nos and Gersamy. Some stories say that those are the same person, that they just had one daughter, and some say it's two. Kind of reminds me of Gemini, like they're two or one kind of thing. Freya, though, was much like Aphrodite. She was very promiscuous, and she basically slept with everyone, including her brother. She just was very, very promiscuous. Um, but on the flip side of that, she also oversees, and I know I'm going to butcher this, so just love me anyway. She oversees Folkvanger, which is um so the different realms of like the afterlife. There's Valhalla at like the very top for the best warriors, whatever. Folkvanger is right underneath it. It's for the warriors that weren't didn't quite make it into Valhalla, but were still fallen warriors, and still respected. So she was in charge of that. So that's Freya. Freyr, her brother, is the god of sunshine, rain, peace, good weather, prosperity, and virility. He was gifted the realm of Alfheim during his infancy, which is, like we said earlier, one of the 9 realms in Yggdrasil. Um, oh, I messed up earlier. Earlier, I said Vanaheim was the home of the elves. That's incorrect.
I was sitting there, I was
Alfheim.
like, Alfheim's the land of the elves. And I was going to ask
Yep.
you, like, a specific kind of elf, like
Nope.
dark, light, all of that. So I was really confused.
I messed that up. Um, Again, I was researching this at 1 o'clock in the morning last night, so just I mashed that together. Um, Alfheim is the home of the elves, um, which Freyr like lords over. I guess I'm not really sure how to explain that. But he also is one of the famous stories about him is that he fell in love with a Jotun. Um, he her name was Gerd, and he had this enchanted sword, and he gave it to her father to impress him. Um, and I did not look further into that story to find out if it turned out well or not. But Freyr would like that was like shock factor kind of story because it was really unexpected for someone of his stature to fall in love with a Jotun. I promise eventually I'm going to get better at looking up pronunciations for this shit. But I'm just going to make it up for now.
And at that moment, she lied.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just not good at Norse pronunciation. I mainly because I haven't studied it before. But I'm going to go with, because of some of the things I do know how to pronounce, that this god's name is Kvasir.
That sounds
He's the
pretty
god of,
accurate, actually.
yeah, right, doesn't it? Sounds correct. Sounds good anyway.
It's
Um,
probably incorrect, but that's
it's
fine.
probably totally wrong. It's probably like Nathan. I don't know. Um, but he's the god of poetry, wisdom, diplomacy, and inspiration. Um, so after the Asir Vanir War, when the two tribes made peace with each other,
Aesir.
Aesir,
Aesir.
Aesir,
Yeah.
Aesir
Aesir.
Vanir War. Okay. Um, the two tribes make peace with each other, and they all spit into this cauldron because why not? It's fucking gross. All their spit mixed together, and Kvasir like pops to life out of that spit. Huh? So that's his birth story. He was a wanderer. He would wander the different worlds to share his knowledge and um, like spread knowledge. Kind of reminds me of Lilith, um, kind of thing. And he loved his life as a wanderer until he met these two dwarven brothers, Fjalar and Galar.
Oh. I don't remember their names, but two twins. Did they make Mjolnir? Mjolnir?
I don't know.
Okay, never mind.
I don't know. He meets these two dwarven brothers, and they are like they get him drunk basically, and then they murder him. So there's that. Um, and from his blood, the legendary mead of poetry was made. Drinking the mead of poetry makes scholars out of common people. Um, and moreover, the mead was said to be an expression of inspiration in ancient times. At some point in time, Odin stole the mead of poetry from wherever it was, and um, this theft brought inspiration back to Asgard. Um, Kind of brought back like a Renaissance time for Asgard. So then there is Nearthus. She is Mother Earth, and represents abundance and stability. It specifically compared her to Gaia from the Greek pantheon. So we're kind of, that's where we're at here. She, that I knew I wrote it down later, is the suspected sister wife of Njord and the mother of Freya and Freyr. Um, and in some like stories, or some like scholars or historians said that she may even be an earlier feminine variation of Njord. So depends on who you ask. Um, Early Germanic tribes would worship Nerthus um, by having a wagon procession. They would have a wagon draped in white cloth, and only a priest was permitted to touch it. And wherever the procession traveled, there would be peace. So it was kind of a um, like bringer of peace. It's not something they would do during wartime. Oder is the god of frenzy and madness. He's the husband of Freya, the father of Nas and Gersemi, and he is basically just a hot fucking mess. Um, there aren't really a lot of stories about him, or I didn't look for specific stories about him because I was just trying to give an overview of each of these gods right now. But he was very reckless and scattered. He didn't have a lot of structure, like literally frenzy and madness are what he's the god of. So this is the guy we can thank for our mental illness. Um, then their daughters, Nos and Gersme, they are both goddesses of worldly possessions, personal treasure, desire, wealth, and beauty. Um, they are sisters, and they are daughters of Freya. In mythology, they are basically indistinguishable from one another. They both do the same things and they look exactly the same, which is why some historians say that they are the same person and just have more than one name. But most accounts say that they are two different beings. The next one is Nana. She's the goddess of fertility and motherhood. She is the wife of Balder, which is not a Vanir god, I don't think. Um, and she's the mother of Forseti. And after Balder's death, she actually died of a broken heart. So, and then the last one is Gulvig. She is the goddess of gold and precious metals, and she is like the personification of gold itself. So she is like golden and all of those things. And she's also known for some reason by the name Heidi. I don't know where that came from, but Golveg actually translates to something similar to gold drunk. So lots of gold in this being. And then actually, her murder is what prompted the Aesir Vanir War. Um, one of the poems says that she was 3 times burned and 3 times born after being killed by the Aesir. So, what happened to her is what prompted the actual conflict. It compared it to Helen of Troy, but it's not really the same in that this person was brutally murdered. It's a little different. But yeah, so that is Vanaheim and the Vanir, which are the tribe of deities that live there or were born there. I don't know. Words are hard. So
Well,
yeah,
we'll have to work on a new realm next time.
yes. Hopefully one that has more information than Vanaheim.
Yeah, I mean, they're just places. So we're just talking about the places. We're not talking about people. So,
Yeah, well, I talked about people because there was nothing about the place. Nothing. It was just a wild, foresty area. But on a different note, look at this.
it's a baby.
He said,
It's a baby
"Mom,
nugget. Now
mom."
stop it. Anyways, until next time.
Bye.